IRDM Pro is part of the high-end DDR4 RAM series of GOODRAM. The kit featured in today's review is running at a frequency of 3600 MHz with the timings CL17, 19, 19, 39 and has a total capacity of 16GB. That's 8GB of memory per module. This kit can be had for around $77 or euros, which makes it one of the cheapest DDR4 RAM kits available on the market right now, and only a handful of kits from other manufacturers can be found around this price range with the same give or take specifications. The design of the IRDM Pro is simple and the total opposite of what everyone is doing within the RAM memory market. This kit has no plastic components to complement the overall design of the RAM modules. Also, RGB illumination or any type of illumination is nowhere to be seen. What the IRDM Pro has instead is an all-metal heatsink, which is also black with subtle gold reflective accents. The before mentioned gold accents are interesting as they're not only in a different color but have a completely different texture as well. While the black heatsink has a smooth semi-glossy surface, these gold accents have a linear brushed texture, which is also part of this whole reflective design of the gold elements that GOODRAM was going for with these RAM kits. This idea of having different textures for different paint elements is nothing new, but in this case it has been applied with taste. This means that the IRDM Pro will match most if not all modern gaming systems. That is, unless you are looking for RGB equipped RAM modules, in which case these modules may not be for you. This RAM kit has a single side PCB design, which means that all memory modules are installed on just one side of the RAM stick. Pretty simple. Speaking of which, the memory modules are simple in their design. Not that we'd care that much for their looks anyway, but identifying the manufacturer of these modules is pretty much impossible as the printed serial number returns no results, and every software that I've tried to read off these RAM modules returns with an error. So at this point I have no idea what these RAM chips are, but it's not important who makes them, it's important how they perform, and that we're going to find out later on into the testing. The removal of the heatsink is the same process for most RAM kits. However, in the case of the IRDM Pro, things went a bit different. You see, the build quality of this RAM kit is very good, and the adhesive that it has been used to fix the heatsink in place is pretty much one of the strongest I have ever seen. So strong that in the process of removing one side of the heatsink, I managed to utterly ruin that metal plate. This is how strong those thermal pads are. However, it was me who damaged the heatsinks, and this is in no way, shape or form the fault of GOODRAM, which brings me into saying yet again the same thing, that I do these things so that you don't have to. And here is how this RAM kit looks like once installed inside my testing system. For reference, the used CPU for testing is the Intel i9-9900K, while the motherboard is an ASRock Z390 Phantom Gaming X, using a single MSI RTX 2070 Super Trio graphics card. Before we head into the performance testing, we need to see what overclocking can be done with this RAM kit. And with the XMP profile selected and just increasing the frequency and nothing else, I was able to achieve 3732 MHz. This is with the same timings and the same voltage with the factory XMP profile selected. So going from the factory frequency of 3600 MHz, this kit reached 3732 MHz without adjusting anything. Not bad. However, as I've said in previous reviews, for RAM overclocking you need to get the optimal balance between higher frequency and lower timings, or just try to increase the frequency as much as you can without touching the timings or the voltage, because this is how you get the best real-world results without doing much calculation in terms of timings. Speaking of results, with an overclock of just 132 MHz, the overall performance gain is around 1 frame per second in gaming, as highlighted in our first test, which involves the game's Shadow of the Tomb Raider running at 1080p in DirectX 12 mode with all settings turned to their maximum and with pure hair set to low. This places the GOODRAM IRDM Pro at the top of our graph, and this is thanks to not only the frequency but also to the timings. In fact, this kit with its factory frequency is very close in performance to the crucial belief Ballistics RGB, but it is still behind it as the Ballistics RGB is using lower timings for the same frequency of 3600 MHz. To make it short, the GOODRAM IRDM Pro, while running at 3600 MHz, reached an average frame rate of 134 frames per second, with the low 1% at 101 frames per second and the 0.1% at 96 frames per second, while the same RAM kit with the small overclock basically got around 1 frame per second gain across the board. The next test involves the AIDA 64 Extreme Memory Benchmark. This is a synthetic benchmark that measures the performance of the installed RAM kit, obviously. This test has 3 values to look at: write, read and copy, and each is affected by the frequency and timings of your RAM kit. Again, the gains from overclocking in synthetic benchmarks have little usage in the review, as these tests are not done daily. While gaming well, you sort of do it on a daily basis, so you might as well just know how much performance you can get by overclocking your RAM memory. Anyway, in this test, the IRDM Pro is the second fastest RAM kit in the graph, being bested again by the crucial Ballistics RGB, which is running at the same frequency of 3600 MHz but with lower timings. Still using the AIDA 64 Extreme benchmark, we take a look at the latency of each RAM kit I've reviewed so far. The latency is measured in nanoseconds, and again, the IRDM Pro is the second best RAM kit in the graph, which proves my point that you need to overclock your RAM memory smart and not just aim for the highest frequency possible while sacrificing the timings. The next test involves the benchmark Cinebench R15, and in this test the IRDM Pro reached a maximum CPU score of 2088 with the OpenGL score on a lower than average 190.8. The kit is again the second best in the graph thanks to its higher place timings, higher than of course the crucial Ballistics RGB. The final test is Super P 1.5 running in 32M mode. This benchmark deals with raw processing power, and any change in the configuration of the RAM memory will affect its performance. The lower the number showcased, the better the performance is, and in this test the GOODRAM kit reached a value of 425.3 seconds, and it is still the second best kit in the benchmark. What a surprise! Nevertheless, this is a very good performance from a good value kit. The GOODRAM IRDM Pro 16GB DDR4-3600 is a great choice, especially in a market that is focusing more on looks and unique designs than actual performance and value. One thing about this RAM kit is the price. While it is not the cheapest DDR4 RAM kit on the market, it is very well priced, especially when looking at the whole package. We start with the design, which is certainly different than what others are doing, both in shape and color. These heatsinks are simple, with no unusual shapes or pattern to be seen. Also at the top, each heatsink side blends easily with the opposite side of the RAM stick, creating a seamless line at the top of each RAM module. The brush texture present on the gold elements on the sides is also a really nice touch, especially since most will not even notice it, but when the light shines just in the right position, the golden accents really do stand out. In terms of performance, it's everything I was expecting and more. First of all, the RAM kit had no issues working with the factory XMP profile selected. Secondly, the overclocking potential is here. With some timing tweaking and frequency increase, I am confident that there is more performance to be gained from this kit. However, the fact that an overclock of 132 MHz can be had by just changing the frequency and nothing else is a good thing, especially for those that are just starting their overclocking journey. The IRDM Pro is a good RAM kit. It offers a low profile heatsink that is also stylish and does its job, which is also paired with an overall good performance and overclocking potential. The build quality is very good, with no sharp points on the edges of the PCB of the RAM sticks or sharp edges on the sides of the heatsinks. The lower price tag is also a good thing to see, especially in a market that, as I've said before, has little issue with charging more while offering little in return, especially when that little are just a pair of RGB LEDs. The only issue of this RAM kit is the questionable availability, especially outside the European region. However, if you find one of these DDR4 RAM kits somewhere, you can get one with peace of mind, as you'd be buying a RAM kit that can hold its own in terms of performance and reliability, and which also looks rather good. If you like this review, then you can perhaps consider subscribing for more, and also if you want to support the channel in a direct way, then in the description below you can find both the Patreon and subscriber star pages of the channel.